All right, Lions fans, how about that 37-24 victory on the road versus the Cincinnati Bengals? Quite a game there. Definitely a lot of nice play there from our secondary without our top corner, DJ Reed. A lot of other guys coming in, making good plays. You had Rocky Sin with a really nice deflection working on T. Higgins way downfield. And then we also had some really nice play there from Terrion Arnold working against Jamar Chase. Maybe the best game of his career. Still a couple penalties in there, but he has some really nice plays in man coverage, breaking on the ball, knocking it away. And he almost had an interception on that Kirby Joseph interception. He was basically right there as well. And then, of course, we had a really nice interception there by Amik Robertson working on Jamar Chase. This time, Jake Browning kind of throws it up there, leaves it a little bit on the inside, and Amik Robertson is able to come away with the ball on this one. Not the greatest throw, but also was a really nice play by Robertson. And that's really what you want in a cornerback. You want a guy who's going to find the ball and make plays on it. It really is kind of two parts of playing cornerback. You got to kind of be there in phase, and then when you're in phase, you got to make the plays. So, yeah, I thought our secondary was pretty impressive without our top corner, working against some really good receivers. The Bengals probably have the best group of top two receivers in the NFL, maybe. And we did a really good job there outside of that huge play by Jamar Chase on a double move. That was just, you saw how good he is on that play, but we did a really good job the rest of the game of kind of keeping a top on this offense and not letting them get a lot of yards after catch, making tackles, and playing the ball when it's thrown up, obviously, making a play on the ball, getting interceptions. And we kind of knew that maybe Jake Browning is a guy that will give you some chances, especially if you watch my video. Jake Browning has pretty much done that as a backup, especially his last 5 games. And on offense, we had quite a few good plays from Jahmyr Gibbs. Maybe none better than this one, showing off the speed, making 22 miss there, and then running over a couple of guys and carrying them into the end zone there, showing off a lot of speed and power. Not a lot of running backs got that kind of speed and power. Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely a very unique kind of running back. And yeah, I do really feel like he's getting stronger as a running back and getting more confident in his ability to break tackles and just kind of like running through guys sometimes. So yeah, that was really huge. And then we also had David Montgomery getting himself a passing touchdown here. And yeah, he also had, I think, maybe 2 rushing touchdowns. He definitely had one that I can remember, but there might have been 2. But it was a really big game for him coming back to his hometown, and also his sister in attendance, who had been paralyzed from the neck down, they said, in a car accident a few years ago, has not been able to come to see any of his Lions games because basically she's in in a situation where she could not go to see the games in Detroit. So it's really cool for her to come to this game and see him get a couple touchdowns and a big win over the Bengals, obviously. That was a really cool moment. And, yeah, I really appreciate the broadcast for pointing that out. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had for the first half. We also had that crazy Sam Laporta touchdown where he's, flipping over a defender, which was pretty cool. But I did want to say you kind of maybe want to be careful about those kind of plays because there are a lot of tight ends who blow their knees out on that kind of play because the guy's just running at your knee as you're jumping, and it just can happen. And then you also had a couple guys hurt their neck, and I definitely remember T.J. Hockenson had a play like this a few years ago where he gets hit as he's flipping over a defender, lands right on his head, and he had a really bad neck injury. It was very scary. So, yeah, really cool play, but it's always a risky proposition to kind of try to jump over defenders like that. And then, first drive coming out of half, the Bengals throw another interception, this time to Alex Anzalone. And at this point, I was wondering if they're actually going to pull Jake Browning because he had been playing so bad to this point. But he did kind of turn it around there in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, this one was pretty bad. Anzalone just working underneath. Jake Browning throws it right to him coming out of the first half. That was not what you want to do. And, yeah, next time out, the Bengals decide to punt the ball on 4th and 2 from their own 35. Now, they were on their own 35, but at this point, they were down by quite a bit, and I really felt like they probably should have gone for this. Yeah, they were down 21-3 at this point. Only a 4th and 2. That just shows absolutely no confidence in your backup quarterback. And yeah, I really felt like at that point, the Bengals were basically conceding the game when they didn't have to. Definitely should have gone for it there from the 35. And yeah, that just shows you the difference of a coach who has some confidence in their offense and also confidence in their players to go for it in those situations when it's an obviously a good decision to go for it, you know. And yeah, down 18 points there, they decide to punt on 4th and 2. Lions go score. And then the Bengals start waking up and scoring points, but then it's almost a little too late. They had that crazy onside kick at the end that kind of bounced around. It was an interesting one where it probably wasn't rolling far enough, and the Lions probably didn't have to field it. But it's kind of like, well, maybe it wouldn't have gone 10 yards, but there's no way to really know. But it didn't look like it was going to go 10 yards. And yeah, there in the fourth quarter, you had some pretty nice play from Iosivas, one of the other Bengals receivers, and also Mike Gesicki there had a really nice catch. And then Jamar Chase having the 2 touchdowns. He had that one on the double move, but then he also had the one in the right corner of the end zone. Was a really good catch. Very similar to like the Santonio Holmes catch almost. It was like insane. And yeah, that one might go down as the best catch of the week, plus another touchdown to T. Higgins there to make it even closer. That made it an 11-point game. But yeah, luckily the Lions were able to put together a touchdown drive there in the fourth quarter. And that's really good. You know, this game kind of felt like it was starting to turn, and then having the ability to go take the momentum back like that on a nice long drive, taking time off the clock is very important, and that's a thing you're going to have to do in playoff games, you know, and also versus good teams like we did versus the Ravens. You got to have those kind of drives where you just go take the momentum and completely take the game back. So, yeah, I guess we saw a lot of things today, some really good offensive line play. Also, Taylor Decker was not able to go, so it was the first career start for Giovanni Manu, left tackle. We took a few years ago. I think it was a 6th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. But, yeah, he was out there working against Trey Hendrickson, and I would say he did a pretty solid job, about as good as you could hope for. Nobody's just going to completely dominate somebody like Trey Hendrickson, but I feel like he did okay. And I don't really feel like our offense is going to have to be a shell of itself if Taylor Decker has to miss more games, but you will have to give him some help when he goes against some of the better pass rushers in the NFL, and the Lions did help him out with some chipping and stuff today. So yeah, definitely a pretty solid game. Definitely had the run game going there, and it helped us out in the fourth quarter. Defense made some really good plays, and I definitely wanted to show this one before I forget. This was just a beautiful move from Derek Barnes on the left guard here. Watch how he gets around. Number 63 here is going to kind of put a move on him to go under his shoulder for the safety. And that was the one that really sealed the game there. That was an insane move. So, yeah, shout out to Derek Barnes there for an impressive sack there to end the game. And hopefully the Lions can keep winning going forward. But this was probably one of the easiest games remaining on the schedule. Got to play the Chiefs next week, then the Buccaneers, then the Vikings, and then the Commanders. So, yeah, this schedule just does not get easy at any point. But we got lucky versus the Bengals playing a backup quarterback. And he had a pretty terrible game overall. Good job by the Lions taking care of business, though, and getting the W. Go Lions, and we will catch you in the next one.